I think that there are good things about AI and bad things. So I made a list of 8 pros and cons here. I thought this might be something interesting to talk about because AI has consumed my life. I now make my livelihood from AI and thinking about AI. So here's the hypothetical. What if we get AGI? I still think that in this scenario, and I'm talking like post-AGI, there's robots roaming the earth, doing all of the labor that we need. Humans can just lay back and relax. I still think that there's pros and cons. If anything in this video is interesting, please leave a comment about it. I just want to talk to people about this right now. The first good thing about AI is work is eliminated. I feel like this is the biggest one. So we've got robot-controlled combines, tractors that can harvest the fields, that can mine the mines, that can do the office work, but really there won't be office work. Essentially, this assumes that robots will be able to provide resources to humans in a processed state so that we can use them. People can just enjoy the fruits of the robot's labor. We can just sit back and pursue creative pursuits. I mean, obviously that's a good thing. So what's the first bad thing about AI? Work is eliminated. When you take 2 extra steps of thinking beyond just, oh, it's great to not have to work, it can also be a bad thing. It's very much an American culture thing that work is your identity and your purpose. And when people lose their purpose, that obviously leads to a lot of depression. I love work. I've enjoyed my relationship with work. There have been times where I've thought, well, it'd be nice to be like early retired and whatnot. But I don't know. Working has given me a sense of purpose and satisfaction. I feel amazing. I feel prideful in my work. And that pride goes away when it's not necessary. Even if you go and produce the same things that you would have otherwise, I think a lot of the satisfaction of work comes from the fact that you're producing something that otherwise couldn't just happen automatically. The satisfaction goes away if work is eliminated. I mean, I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, the huge waves of depression that come from a population that doesn't have to work, essentially can't work with meaning. So, we'll leave it there. What's the next good thing about AI? Abundance. It's kind of like wrapped up exactly in work is eliminated. Everyone has everything that they need. There is no more homelessness or hunger. Kind of a wild thing to think about. And, first tab here is Elon Musk. I'm changing the Tesla mission wording from sustainable abundance to amazing abundance. Yeah, abundance is like an AI enthusiast idea. And it's kind of cool. Obviously, it fits in the pros column. So what's in the cons column? Abundance. Abundance for whom? Maybe this is like a tinfoil hat scenario take, but I think one of the big concerns about a shifting economy towards abundance for people that are already in power, that have the ability to control the robots, own the robots, if you will. This point speaks to a layer of human pattern that we've seen throughout history, and it's the worst that it has ever been because the systems in place allow it to be the worst. I'm speaking so weirdly right now. Let me try to get more concrete. All right, I'm going to try to keep this point about the wealth gap pretty short, because if you don't want to hear it, then you don't want to hear it. The wealth gap throughout all of human history has been, it's existed, right? But in the last few decades, we've seen it grow to an unbelievable degree. It seems like all the productivity advancements, like new tools that are invented, new systems that are invented throughout all of human history, it seems like that doesn't impact how much stress or time is needed from the average worker, modern worker. And instead, this huge amount of productivity growth kind of just trickles up the economic food chain and is absorbed by the upper class, the top 1%, if you will. This is not what this video is about, but it's just speaking to the wealth gap that is growing right now is illustrative of human greed that will never stop. This is kind of a crazy point to make, but at the end of the day, it seems like there is no such thing as enough. So if we have an upper class today that is dependent on people lower class workers to fund their lifestyle. If we get rid of the need for that lower class, then maybe we will get rid of the lower class entirely. I hardly know how to phrase this, but it just kind of boggles my mind, because at the end of the day, like, if we have unbelievable abundance, we'll still have a limit on resources. And if people see an opportunity to get more resources by having fewer people on the earth, then they might take that chance. Maybe not right away, but eventually. I don't know. So I guess the only con here is fearing human greed. Let's leave it at that. If you've got a comment on that to try to figure out what I'm talking about there, go ahead and leave a comment. The next good thing about AI is that disease is solved. I've seen people talk about this one for quite a while. AI with brute force tactics is able to simulate thousands and millions of possible solutions and antidotes to disease, experimentations, new workflows and thought processes to get disease cured, to the point where it feels like all disease could potentially one day be completely eradicated from the earth. That is super cool. That's just a good thing. What's the next con? Privacy is impossible. Okay, so for the first time, these are like not related, but just thinking about the way that AI works today is that there's companies that own models, and then they have to collect data in order to fill their context window. Privacy feels like it's impossible if a series of robots of healthcare are constantly analyzing you and storing your data somewhere. I just don't think it works any other way. Make of that what you will. The next pro for good things about AI is that errors in work are eliminated. It's kind of just a productivity thing. It's just kind of cool. Errors are heartbreaking. It's a needless loss of efficiency because of human mistakes. It's kind of crazy. Just how much more productive, efficient the world is with the lack of errors. The next con is the loss of critical thought. I kind of chuckle there because it feels like every time I hit the next checkbox here, it's like, oh, the most dooming thing ever. What am I referring to here? This went viral like not that long ago. MIT study talking about the more people are using AI to solve their problems for them without people having to use their brain or actually work through something actually results in your brain getting worse, or at the very least not getting better, right? And that is concerning. People that can solve issues, people that have wicked fast intellect, usually that's a result of constant reps of mental tasks. So if everyone depends on large language models or AGI, if everyone is dependent ultimately on someone doing their thinking for them, they're going to stay dumb. That's all there is to it. And I find the domino effect of that very concerning. The next good thing about AI is that entertainment media is going to be good. Yeah, I put a bunch of O's in there because, yeah, movies, cinematography, cinema. One of my greatest satisfactions in life is sitting on this couch back here with my wife and watching amazing movies. I love movies, man. So the idea here is that generative AI could possibly one day make creatively satisfying, cool, emotionally deep, symbolic stories. We are nowhere close to this yet. Case in point here. To be clear, we are nowhere near this. Generated video is currently crap. But I'm just trying to engage in the hypothetical here. Post-AGI, cool stuff. The next bad thing about AI is a loss of purpose. You know what? I'm just going to kind of skip this one because I think I already wrapped this up in the work is eliminated bullet point earlier. I think it is an issue, though. The next good thing about AI is the re-enabling of disabilities. That is cool. And it is already happening today, not necessarily through AI, just through medical research in general. But like when you are able to fix someone's legs permanently, perhaps through bionic implementations, that's amazing, right? It kind of wraps in with the last con that I put in, loss of purpose. It can give people purpose. Oh, wait, but if they don't have to work, maybe they won't have purpose. The re-enabling of disabilities is a beautiful thing, I think. I think that's obviously a pro. The next bad thing about AI is the loss of confidence in recordings. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wrote this one down for, like, people don't trust media anymore. There's this subreddit called Is This AI, where people who legitimately are wondering if something is AI, they post what they have. And a lot of them, it's kind of sad. A lot of the posts are, I commissioned an artist to draw me something, and I don't know if they actually drew it. It's kind of sad. That's such a micro example, but this topic gets so much bigger. Just not being able to trust what you see on a screen. I mean, the concept of that has been around for a long time, since editing existed, right? But it's obviously more prevalent. And I think one of the Black Mirror scary scenarios, if you didn't do something wrong, but someone has a recording of you doing the wrong thing, that just kind of has terrifying life implication. Next good thing about AI. The end of war. Whoa, wait a minute. Post-AGI. I'm just picturing kind of far post-AGI here, right? Robots do all of our fighting. But in a world of pure abundance, maybe there are no resources to fight about. Oh, wait, but what if diplomacy could be solved with AI? Cultural barriers that are broken down through AI automatically transcribing language, doing it accurately and better than it can do today, having the nuance in language. I think it goes a lot deeper than this, though. Like, picture Big Dog from 2008. I have stark memories of seeing the video of Big Dog and thinking about its implementation in war. Good versions of it. I guess we're talking about Terminator-esque themes here. But if humans with guns and tanks and helicopters are not the most powerful thing on the battlefield or in war, then they're not going to be there. It's just going to be robots. And if it's two, like, groups of robots fighting each other, that's not going to happen for very long. Battles will be quick and decisive, and then there never will be battles again. I feel like two groups of robots, like, clashing it out is not a thing that really happens in post-AGI war. I think war just doesn't even make sense if AI-enabled defense systems exist. I think war is kind of impossible in the world where we successfully arm robots safely and give them instructions to keep the peace. There are horror concepts in here easily, but I have it under the pros column. It's the end of war. The next bad thing about AI is the copyright nightmare. Now, we don't really care about copyright holders, like, making money and stuff, but just the concept of ownership of intellectual property, I think, is a big thing. And it's, like, kind of the loss of ownership in general. In a world of unbelievable abundance, you don't necessarily own anything. Universal basic income fits into this conversation, but I think that ownership has a lot to do with pride. I think it just kind of wraps back into that purpose conversation. But, oh yeah, of course. Obviously, the crazier part about all this is that the copyright nightmare, the laws of intellectual property, problem with all that is that all intellectual property has been stripped and consumed by AI in the first place to create what it creates. So that's just a fun, interesting, like, add-on to it. The final pro of AI. I do not remember what this is. Probably not a good one. Oh! Sci-fi level robotic interaction requires AI. Okay. I am thinking about, like, robot animals, like from Maze Runner and from Horizon Zero Dawn and from any number of, like, sci-fi things. Like, if a robot is perfectly simulating an animal, it's because it's got, like, a bunch of cameras and AI systems determining what it would do. Like, any robot that could copy animal behavior could also just stand up and speak English to you. I don't know. So it's just like a little fantasy setting that I'm like, oh, that's a good thing that AI can provide. I don't know. It's just kind of cute. It enables a sci-fi fantasy. I think that's what I was going for here. The final bad thing about AI is that the satisfaction of creativity is permanently nerfed. Yeah, I mean, like, I like how I phrased that. I'm a video editor by trade. Video editing requires taste, graphic design. A lot of people that get into video editing, motion graphics, get there because they enjoy creativity. And so creativity is something that strikes at my heart directly. And I fear that in a world where I don't need to edit, I don't need to make art, or in a world where art is a few sentences away, that the satisfaction of sitting down with a pencil and making something is weakened. I think that's obvious, and I think it's unavoidable. There is something about the effort that causes separation. If you spend a lot of effort honing a skill, and you are now separate from people who can't do the thing you spend a lot of time drawing, so suddenly you're a great artist, and a bunch of people are like, wow, we can't do that, so we're impressed by your art. I think that it goes away. Maybe not entirely, but like, it's a pointless skill. It doesn't matter. So I think about that a lot. In conclusion, dang. When I think about all these things, AI as a whole, and I did not encapsulate everything here, is necessary to produce a fantasy world that we all yearn for from a sci-fi perspective. And lots of cool things can come from it, like abundance, like leisure. That's awesome. But when I go back to this list of cons, a lot of them are more heavy-hitting for me, and I honestly cannot tell if this is just because of a human fear of change in me. Makes me scared of this. Makes me scared of AI. And if I should just embrace change. I'm a dad. And last night I was brushing my 4-year-old's teeth. And it really made me ponder the different world that we are creating for our children. And if things like the loss of critical thought mean something en masse in a population, if we think that today's population is ripe with critical thought, I do not know what the future holds of a generation or the next generation or the next generation if they have a decreasing amount of critical thought, and what that means and what... I fear it. Maybe it's unfounded, but this whole hypothetical was about post-AGI. Something that I fear in the short term is maybe 3 to 5 years away. The unbelievable lack of societal stability that we will be able to have. Huge swaths of the workforce are laid off. And I feel like in a world where UBI is not figured out yet, there's going to be massive unrest between people who are receiving UBI because they cannot work and people who are not receiving UBI because they have to work, because they can work. I can't demonstrate what the lack of societal stability looks like there, but there's probably fire involved. Thank you so much for listening. It was really fun for me to sit down and think about these things and talk to a camera about them. Now I want to talk to you about them. Please leave a comment, and I'm talking about you. And this channel is under the umbrella of Forward Future, a company by Matthew Berman. So if you're seeing this video and I hardly have any subscribers, click the subscribe button now, invest early, it's going to be a good ride.